Hi, I'm Liss, and the name of the program is The Way to Go. I invite you to join me as we explore places to go and things to do in the area. Stay tuned because a little later on in the program, I'm going to start a new feature in which I will be offering my review of an attraction. But our subject today is libraries. I never pass a library, or rarely pass a library, without going in. I guess you could call me a glutton for books. But libraries are more than places for information and education. They're places for entertainment as well. Today we're going to find out what libraries are and what makes them tick. My guest today is Dr. Maurice Freedman, who is the director of the Westchester Library System. We know that libraries are going in through a lot of changes today, Mitch, and the question is, what is the most important change taking place today?
Well, libraries have always been very sensitive to technology, Norman, and the technology of our day is computers and the digital processing of information. And libraries are providing more and more services that are digitally based, computer based, and we're trying to very, very much exploit the technologies and provide and meet the broad range of information needs of the county citizens.
And how specifically is that happening?
Well, the biggest thing is a project we call WestLinks. It's a collaborative effort between the Westchester Library System, the state cooperative that serves the 38 independent and autonomous public libraries in the county. And through WestLinks, every public library in this county is online to a computer mainframe at our Elmsford headquarters. And at present, all the circulation, patron records, all the information about book stock and other forms of media at every public library in this county are available through that computer system.
And what does that mean when I go into a library? How is that going to affect what I'm doing different than what I do now? I certainly know that it's been years since I've had to look up things in a catalog because there has been something on microfilm. But
Right.
has that been changed?
Well, we must think of the word catalog and think of it in its sense as an organizing medium for the materials comprising the library. And so we have a computer catalog now instead of the card catalog that you were encountering. And the biggest difference is the card catalogs in public libraries usually only gave you access to the materials held by that public library.
Mm-hmm.
Now, through the microfilm and its successor, the current, the computer, the totally online catalog, we provide information on every book in the county, in every public library. It provides catalog access to the holdings of every public library in the county, and what's more, it'll tell you the shelf status.
So that when I go into my local library, I will have a computer terminal that I can actually put in the name of the book or the author or the subject and find out what is available?
Well, like all automation programs, this one's in progress, and at this point, every public library has computer terminals that are available to the library staff to use.
Mm-hmm.
The program at this point doesn't have online catalogs available for the public, with one library exception. And what we do
Which
have...
is the exception?
The White Plains Public Library participates in the WestLink system, but has its own computer system.
Mm-hmm.
And they're exploring possible linkages with the WestLink system for theirs as well. But what we do have at the libraries now that is available is a CD-ROM catalog, and those are the same kind of CD platters that people buy with music on them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it also contains vast quantities of digital information. Those CD-ROM catalogs are available. At least one is available at every public library facility in this county. And they do provide access, again, to all the materials that are held by the public libraries in this county. And we're really proud of that in terms of catalog access to the users. The microfilm catalog you referred to only covered books going back to 1977. And this catalog, the CD-ROM catalog, now provides for all books, regardless of imprint date or when they were acquired by the public library, except for the ones that were, of course, the libraries added after we pressed the CD-ROM.
But let's go beyond that. Let's go beyond that. This is an electronic world, and it is an electronic time. And is it possible to go into a library and do further searches through computers, through databases?
Absolutely. The service that I'd highlight is the one that's available at the Westchester Library System Central Library, the Mount Vernon Public Library, on behalf of all the public libraries in the county, offers a bibliographic database search service. For those familiar with the dialogue service, it's a particular bibliographic utility that provides a whole range of sophisticated databases beyond medicine, business, psychology, whatever. And people at any public library in this county who have a specific information need that can only be satisfied by a search of one of those dialogue databases, their information is sent down to Mount Vernon, and the person down there does the searching of dialogue and gets them back a printed report.
So this is not something that the library patrons can actually go in and use themselves.
Well, the patrons can go into the Mount Vernon Public Library, and there are at least the White Plains Public Library in the county offers the dialogue service as well, but exactly what the terms and conditions of use at White Plains are, the person should pursue with the White Plains Public Library. The service based at Mount Vernon, there's no fees or charges associated with it, and it's funded by state grant money, specifically to underwrite the cost of the Central Library service.
Is library usage increasing or decreasing?
Well, I don't know whether this is a good or bad thing. Certainly we're pleased that library usage is going up dramatically, but we found that over time that as our economic conditions deteriorate, and some people are calling it a recession, some people calling it a depression, but we know from the Great Depression of the 30s that library use increased dramatically, and we have seen in the last 2-3 years a marked increase in library usage. And I'd be glad to talk about some of the factors that indicate this.
What are they?
Well, one of the big things is there's this tremendous number of people who have been laid off. You can see headlines in the paper. I won't mention companies, but any reading of the daily papers in Westchester indicates the layoffs. And the public library is a place for laid-off people to go for several things. It's a good place to go so that they'll have something to do. Also, they'll have something very constructive to do in terms of finding a job. In addition to the various job listings that are available at the public library, the usual newspapers and magazines, there's job information centers in several public libraries with guides and materials on how to write resumes. There's entertainment for them in the form of books and other media that are in libraries now, but there's something to read or view that will keep them occupied and not just fixed on the problem of finding a job and feeling bad about the loss of a job.
The wonderful part of it is it's all free.
Yes, that's if there's any message I have at all, the greatest thing of the public library in the United States, and it originated in the United States public library movement, is this concept of the free public library, the idea that anybody can use it and get full benefit from it regardless of their ability to pay. It's a cornerstone of our democracy that the public library is there as the people's university.
And you do, I guess as part of your mission, you do an extensive program in getting people to use the library more. I know that there's some literature that you've prepared, that some of it's been prepared locally and some nationally, using celebrities actually in promoting it. One that I noticed particularly was a poster using Arthur Ashe, and another one with Mary Beth Hurt and Paul Schrader in it. How did those come about, and what's your purpose in doing this sort of material?
Well, the particular posters you're referring to were developed to promote the advent of the Westlink system. It was a dramatic improvement, enhancement of public library service in the county, and we wanted to do everything we could to promote and publicize it, and it's just another way of bringing the public library to the people's attention. And Arthur Ashe is in addition to being a great athlete and a great human being and an extraordinarily concerned one, is available and does help good causes. And the public library is something that, as a Westchester resident at the time anyway, we worked and found our way to him, and he was available. He not only made himself available and his visage available for the poster, he also recorded several public service announcements for us. And we had the cooperation of the Reader's Digest at that time. It was their radio studio in which he prepared those announcements.
And the other one with the Mary Beth Hurt and Paul Schrader.
Mary Beth Hurt and Paul Schrader have the fortune or misfortune, but their little child played with my little child in the park, and Mary Beth became very good friends with my wife, and we became friends as couples, and they've been very active and very generous supporters, and which is a very large thing on their part, because they're both very private people who would choose rather not to be in the public eye, except in their professional roles. But they made their visages available, and in other ways they've lent their support to public library service, because they're very strong believers in it.
And personalities are important. I know some of the material that comes out of National, Library Association?
The American Library Association.
I'm looking at some here. Here is one with Phyllis Rashad, and another one David Bowie, and another one with Dan Marino, which really covers all of the areas. Here you've got...
Right. In addition to those, there's Paul Newman, who's done one, and Glenn Close. There's the American Library Association very actively got people involved, and so we bought these bookmarks, and they're distributed and also available as posters in libraries, encouraging people to read.
And you're reaching out, I assume, to younger readers and younger users of the library. I know that the schools certainly encourage youngsters to go to the library to read, to make reports. And there was an interesting article in the Times a few Sundays ago in which they talked about children going into the libraries after school. They know that the rush is going to come because they're all in there to do their assignments.
Yeah, well, that part of the public library is a very great tradition of the public library, but it's a place the kids can go after school, and they do their assignments there. The other side of that coin is that it's also a place where the kids can explore and read and look at material that they may not have access to in their school library, where there still are school libraries. In New York City, there isn't a school library that exists that has a school librarian, an accredited librarian running it. But in Westchester County, we have librarians and children's librarians who very much help these kids with their assignments, but also reading as their interests take them, opening up the world of imagination, fantasy, as well as facts and fictions.
What fascinates me is that when you go into a library and you ask the librarian for information on a subject, how sometimes they're able to just reach out and take the exact book, or even if they can't find it, their curiosity, their involvement gets so strong that even though you're satisfied, they're not satisfied, and they'll pursue it until they find it. What is it that enables a librarian to do that?
Well, there's several things. I'm real proud of our profession. We certainly don't have a very high status in the society, nor or either in terms of professional strata or economic strata. But the thing that I'm really proud of about us is that we really are a helping or serving profession. We want nothing from the user except their satisfaction over our meeting their needs. We really want to serve. So you'll find reference librarians who several things come to mind, but one thing is they will really stick with the problem and really work very, very hard to ensure that the person gets what they need. And in that process, what we call is the reference interview, where someone comes in, they have some idea of what they want. and through the skills of the reference librarian, there's a series of questions and answers, perhaps a little Socratic, and perhaps a little, I don't want to say Freud in the superanalytic sense, but what does this person really want? What do they really need? And they will, the reference librarian invariably will get to what the person's real information need is, and using a broad variety of tools, make sure that the person gets what they need.
And libraries, as I stated earlier, are more than just information and education. They're also entertainment. And there are many, many programs that are going on at, I suppose, every branch library. And that's, I guess, part of the plan, or how did it all start? What's the mission? Where did it come from that says that we're going to put on programs in the evening, we're going to have lecturers, we're going to have music?
Well, each public library defines its own mission, and the broad definition that all of them can agree with is that they're there to satisfy and meet the people's information needs. And how that's defined, is the library going to be a cultural center? Well, a lot of libraries do define themselves as cultural centers. This show is filmed in the White Plains Public Library, and they have a meeting room that's a good-sized room with a piano there. So there's concerts, there's lectures in that meeting room. There's a museum gallery outside this studio, and the Chappaqua Library in Chappaqua has a wonderful meeting room with facilities for first-class dramatic performances, and I've seen some there.
And Yonkers certainly has an auditorium where there
terrific auditorium in Yonkers,
where there are theatrical presentations
right.
put on, as well as meetings, community meetings.
Exactly.
And Scarsdale Library has an excellent meeting room, and
up in the northern part of the county, the Mount Kisco Public Library. A library isn't built these days that doesn't have a substantial meeting room where people can come together, be it for information, recreation, entertainment, or quiet time. But the library, in many respects, most of the public libraries in this county define themselves as cultural centers for their communities, and so there's concerts, there's galleries. The Greenberg Public Library comes to mind. When they have a really big show or performance, they use the town hall in the town office building. But they provide programs and services that really range across the spectrum of the entertainment.
I've been to many of them. The newspapers always list programs at libraries, and the truth is that there are too many to go to. So
that's right.
It's not a question of, I wish I had a place to go. There is always something happening, and the libraries are really filling that need enormously. And I want to repeat the fact that they're free.
That's right.
And that's the marvelous part of it. And another thing that impresses me a great deal is the caliber of the audience. There's something about a library that when you go into a library, you feel warm and safe. And I certainly know that when you go to a library, you know that there are people in there who are seeing what you're seeing, or interested in reading and interested in knowledge. And so you have a feeling that you're in the right kind of an atmosphere. And I think that's a very important factor.
Well, the two things that come to mind is that you have a helping profession. We see ourselves as people offering help and wanting to serve. So there's an atmosphere that the staff should be creating, and certainly our credo says they should be creating a warm, friendly, let me help you, how may I help you, are you being served? And it's very legitimate, and it is the real view of library workers, professional and with library degrees and without library degrees. The other thing that you were touching on is a gemütlich place, a safe place, an interesting place. We found in my career experience, I worked for the New York Public Library, and back during the last fiscal crisis, the one in the mid-'70s, the quality and quantity of letters of support was unparalleled. The library users, being readers, were extremely literate and knew and understood how vital that service was. They wrote the best and an overwhelming number of letters to the mayor And Ed Koch, during his reign, subsequent to Abe Beam's, remarked on, he said, I never get so many letters and so well-written ones, except on the subject of the library.
How important is the ambiance of the actual library? There are huge libraries, very modern libraries, and I've been in libraries not only in this area, but in different parts of the country. As I said, I find it very difficult to pass a library anywhere, which look like they are 100 years old and have never been painted, but they're colorful because the books are there. And how important is the ambiance to the ability to get something out of a library?
Well, I think ultimately the ability to get something out of the library is going to depend on the person who wants something. There's various ambiances or environments that are created by the community, the library staff, in many respects the library board of trustees. What kind of service message do they want to get across to the user? They're all service agencies, but some emphasize different things. There's different values in varying communities, but all of them, regardless of the age or the physical condition of the facility, are there to serve the people. But it varies all over. There's the more quiet-oriented ones. There's the ones where you might even find music being played openly. There's just different philosophies.
One thing you don't see is that sign that says
Well, thank God. That stereotype is pretty much gone. I'm not aware of any library that has silent signs or that infamous shush business. I don't even hear bad jokes about that when I say I'm a librarian. So at least that's history. There are libraries that have all kinds of video and sound recorded media that people can view or listen to in them.
with earphones, I assume.
With earphones, that's correct. And there's other libraries, though, that have concerts of recorded materials. Or, they'll play material over a sound system in a meeting room, so people can come in like a lunchtime concert without live people. It might be introduced by somebody, a music expert, or musicologist, but they'll play music and people will sit and listen to it. Or else when you get into real high tech in the well-financed libraries, there's wireless sound systems where people can check out headphones and walk around the library with earphones on, plugged into one of 2 or 3 or 4 channels with different kinds of music playing.
Are any of those in Westchester, if you know?
I'm not aware of there being any in Westchester.
There are specialized libraries like the one at Lincoln Center, the New York Public Library, which is devoted to the arts and theater.
The performing arts,
yes.
The Lincoln Center Library. I'm not aware of their having a wireless sound system either, but a library I worked for in Minnesota, the Hennepin County Library, which serves suburban Minneapolis, had an extremely progressive, and still does, in terms of funding and mission and priorities and view of how it wants libraries to be. And they've done cutting-edge kinds of things with media technology to...
Let's talk about the services for special audiences. I know I picked up a brochure on library services for people with special needs and talked about some of the things that are offered in the branches. What are some of these and what are offered?
Well, the library, the state of New York is very committed to serving people with special needs, as is the United States government. And there's specifically federal and state funding that goes to, it's categorical aid, and either through grants or competitive grants, we serve people with special needs. So one of the biggest programs where we've had a very close working relationship is the Literacy Volunteers of Westchester County. We recently put in very, very high-powered microcomputers in 4 public libraries in the county, where special software for reading and life skills and some arithmetic skills are available, and we paid for the software and the training of the library staff and literacy volunteer staff, so that the people who are in the literacy program will have advantage to computer technology in addition to the one-to-one tutorial relationship they have to gain better literacy skills. We get aid to serve the prisons in the state prisons in the county. There's 3 of those, Sing Sing and the facility at Taconic and the Bedford Hills Women's Correctional Facility. And so we work closely with the staff of those 3 facilities to provide library services or support the library service that they provide there.
So all of the libraries don't offer all of the special services, but generally, since all the libraries work together through the Westchester Library System, everything is available to anyone, no matter what community they're in.
That's correct, but we have some specific programs that do it. With the job information centers I made some reference to before, there's several libraries spotted all over the county that have these job information centers in them and receive materials and continue to buy materials to support them. But they were started with through our special services program. There's concerts, there's exhibits dealing with and serving the needs of the hearing impaired, visually impaired. We have, there's a Kurzweil reading machine that's located at the White Plains Public Library.
Basically, you can go to your local library and find the information about all of these.
Or else call the Westchester Library System and ask for the special services.
There's so much information that you have to offer, and as too frequently happens on this program, we run out of time. But I really thank you very much for opening our eyes and our minds to what's available in books. My guest today has been Dr. Maurice Freedman, who is director of the library system. And today, at this point, we're going to be introducing a new feature, which we will call the Review Spot. And on the Review Spot, each week or from time to time, we will give you our recommendations about certain attractions in Westchester. The Westchester Broadway Theater in Elmsford is currently offering a production of the musical Sugar, which is a stage version of the movie Some Like It Hot. If you like a very funny plot and a fast-paced show and colorful costumes and lots of dancing, especially tap dancing, then this show is for you. Sugar first ran on Broadway 20 years ago, following the success of the movie that starred Marilyn Monroe, Jack Lemmon, and Tony Curtis. And the cast of this current production is outstanding and up to that standard. The plot revolves around 2 down-on-their-luck musicians who dress in drag and join a girl's band to escape the machine guns of a tap-dancing mobster. It never takes itself seriously, and the music and lyrics by Julie Stein and Bob Merrill are bubbly and fun, and I recommend the show highly. I've also just learned that Bob Cuccioli, a favorite performer of mine from the New York stage, will be starring in the title role of Phantom, the next production that will open at the Westchester Broadway Theater on July 15th. I first saw him in The Rothschilds a few seasons ago and immediately pinned the words future star on him. Subsequently, I've watched enthusiastically when he appeared in the widely acclaimed And the World Goes Round and at the popular Lyrics and Lyricists series at the 92nd Street Y. My compliments to Bob Funking and Bill Stutler of the Westchester Broadway Theater for casting my discovery, if I may call him that, in that show. I hope to have him on this program in July after Phantom opens here. And that is the review spot for today. And now we've reached the end of the program, and I wish you all good times and good happiness. This is Norm Liss. Enjoy yourself.